So, there hasn't been a single final battle in Transformers history that has been changed the most other than Rise of the Beast. The first trailer looked like this. This is the earliest rendition of the final battle we have available. Well, we have even more news about how the movie and Rise of the Beast itself was supposed to play out before we even got any Beast Wars characters added in the mix. So, oh boy, Rise of the Beast is the gift that keeps on giving, because every time we get stuff that got cut from the movie, I'm like, we were this close to greatness. Why couldn't we have gotten this instead? This is like there's so much content from Rise of the Beast. It's not even funny. It almost looks like they made a whole different movie, scrapped that movie, and made another one on top of it, and just reissued some stuff from the original script. Which, fun fact, is actually what they did. That's actually why the movie was delayed for a whole year. But anyways, guys, the fire for this year is just me. My brother couldn't be here today, as always, because is anyone really surprised? Because he got stepped on by Barricade during the Battle of Chicago. I hope you guys are enjoying the jokes more than I am editing this video, cause oh boy, have I been uploading almost daily the past few days. So first of all, let's not beat around the bush and let's talk about what you're all here for. And that's the new concept art that we got about the original Rise of the Beast script, like how it originally was going to look like. Now, here it is, and first I want to analyze this artwork a bit. We have all the Autobots in parallax formation. And for those of you guys who don't know what parallax formation is, it's basically an old Roman tactic which all the soldiers kind of group up together with their shield to make it harder for the enemy to break their ranks. But what's more interesting is the characters here, because now we have a clearer look at some of the characters that we actually saw in a previous artwork, this one right here. But here we have a clearer look at them. Now keep in mind that some of these characters are still very early in the process of being made or something along those lines. So some designs here are more detailed than others and look more distinct than others, while others kind of look very similar. For example, here we have Sideswipe, who was one of the characters cut. As you guys can see, he has a similar looking face to Trailbreaker over here, who is even more obvious that he's Trailbreaker. Even has like the gun sticking out from his back, which is really cool. We got RC, which is, this is a version of RC we have seen in some of the previous concept art, primarily when her and Wheeljack were being chased by supposedly Barry. We have a more Bumblebee movie faithful Optimus Prime. We have a Bumblebee that seems to be more in line with the Volkswagen version we saw in the Bumblebee movie. Then we have Brawn, Ratchet, Ironhide, and two new Autobots that we didn't see in the previous artwork. We see a blue guy here. He has blue and his hands are white. You'd probably say this is Mirage, or it could even be another Autobot, like, I don't know, maybe even Beachcomber. I doubt it, but you know. And at the very back, we see what is supposed to be a green Autobot, though we can't exactly tell who he's supposed to be. Some people are saying it could be Hound, and yeah, I could see this being Hound. I think it makes more sense than Bulkhead, since all the characters here, for the most part, are classic G1 Season 1 characters. So it will make sense for these two characters to be Hound and Mirage, respectively. Now, there's actually one character that's missing from this lineup. Well, there's actually two characters that are missing for this lineup. First of all will be Wheeljack. We know because of like the RC and Wheeljack concept art that he's also planned out to be in this movie, and he was gonna keep the whole Pablonian, you know, Volkswagen look. And we're also missing the white Autobot from the previous concept art of the Autobots charging together. He was the only one that we couldn't clearly tell who he was, so in reality we have 12 Autobots total, which that's an insane amount of Autobots to have for one Transformers movie. If you think about it, Rise of the Beast, despite having a large cast, most of the cast did nothing. Half the Maximals were barely used, Wheeljack accomplished nothing, and oh my god, don't even get me started on how many times RC got washed in that movie. But what's interesting is the story behind this concept art right here. Man, I really love concept art like this. It just leaves so much to the imagination, and all the Autobots gather around here protecting their King Optimus Prime looks so cool. If only there was a way I could sort of replicate that fantasy. Oh, there is? Fantastic, because luckily, today's sponsor can make that dream a reality by playing Royal Match, a mobile match 3 game where you can save His Highness King Robert from all kinds of crazy scenarios. This game is free to download, and might I add, it has the best thing ever, no ads. Whoa. Not only that, but you also don't need any internet to play the game. So, stuck in a train, play the game. At the library, play the game. At work, play the game. But be careful not to get in trouble. That's very important. The Fire Brothers does not condone getting yourself in trouble at work. And not playing Royal Match. King Robert needs your help to restore the castle to its former glory. As you progress through the game, you'll see that the castle slowly comes back to its former glory, with over 4,500 plus levels. Jesus. Rewards in the form of decorations, various in-game events and unique levels. Royal Match is the perfect way to give yourself the royal treatment. So if you ever wanted to experience what it's like to fight against insurmountable odds while saving your one and only king, King Robert, there's tons of puzzles here, and as a pretty intelligent theorizing audience, I know that my audience is up to the challenge. As a solo gamer, I greatly appreciate the ability to be able to play a game solo, but if you want companionship, well, you can find that in the game as well. So don't delay, try today. Check the link in the description as well as in the pinned comment to fight for His Highness King Robert today. Huge thanks to Dream Games for sponsoring today's video. And now, where was I again? Alpha Steve. Alright, the story behind the concept art. Magic. He actually did share some info about the context behind this scene, and I'm gonna quickly read out the most important parts. Alpha Steven R described this as a last stand moment where the Autobots in a phalanx formation defend themselves as RC breaks the line to actively engage the enemy. Producer Lorenzo D. Buenaventura, everyone's favorite producer, wanted a cool action scene in front of Mount Kilimanjaro to pitch Paramount the idea of filming in Africa. At the time of posting this, I haven't seen the film, so not sure if it ended up happening. Which, Steven, if you're watching this, nah, it didn't happen. So this actually does confirm a bunch of speculation that I had since the beginning, that originally the movie was supposed to take place in Africa and not Peru. And that's because a lot of the concept that we got very recently depicted like these like African landscapes, you know, with all the animals and stuff. So it looks like Paramount, or at least Lorenzo, really did wanted to film in Africa. Like they had their eyes set on it until they got changed to Peru. Now, what's interesting here is that the Autobots are defending and they're not really attacking. Well, except for RC here, who's rushing into battle at the moment to charge at the enemy. And I honestly wish I could tell you who they're fighting, but I don't know really. Like, there's so much about the concept art that we just don't know. The only real characters that we know were planned out this early in the film for the Decepticon side will probably be Scourge, who looks an awful lot like Tarn, and of course we also have Barricade, which we saw in that one concept art with Wheeljack and RC, and maybe arguably Battletrap too, since he had the Decepticon insignia in a lot of like the very early concept art, and his, you know, model render is one of those that we have seen before. He's one of those very early characters that they nailed down and decided on pretty early on. And I also find it very interesting that very early on they decided to fight in a volcano. Now there's other concept art that we have gotten a while back that depicts the early version of Scourge fighting the Bumblebee movie Optimus Prime, more or less, which is the same Optimus Prime we have here. And since we know that Scourge existed, it is safe to say that the climax or Rise of the Beast of, you know, the Autobots fighting in the volcano over the control of supposedly the spaceship or the transport bridge was planned out from the beginning. Especially since very early on we actually do see that Bumblebee has his Volkswagen mold, his Volkswagen look from the BB movie, which matches the two concept arts we just got. And what does that concept art also depicts? Unicron. Exactly. I think that they had Unicron planned since very early on, but according to some of the concept art, it looks like the Autobots were in fact gonna fight a sort of Terrorcon evil army. There's a lot of concept art here that depicts the early versions of the characters in the movie fight some generic enemies like the Dreads over here in this infamous concept art. And we also know that the original ending for Rise of the Beast apparently was also planned out pretty early on, because in here we actually do see Optimus Prime being sucked, pause, by Unicron, which will supposedly lead to the original alternate ending of Rise of the Beast, where Optimus floats in space until he, you know, goes inside Unicron and, you know, Unicron opens his eyes and he, you know, calls out to Prime. So I do have a bit of a theory as to what the original plot for Rise of the Beast was, but first we need to make concrete what our pieces on the chessboard are. So we know we have 12 Autobots. We know that Scourge and at least Battletrap existed very early on, though Scourge looks very differently. We know that Barricade was also supposedly maybe in the film, and I say maybe because we're still a bit unsure about that one. Unicron was also planned from very early on. The film used to take place in Africa, or at least the final battle did, and there were no Beast Wars characters, though a lot of the concept art does depict Noah as existing in the movie pretty early on, so his involvement was planned out since the start. So with that, I think I can like at least put up a semi-concrete plot as to what the original plans for Rise of the Beast were, before the script for the Bumblebee sequel movie and the Beast Wars movie got merged to form Rise of the Beast. So here's what I'm thinking. After the events of the Bumblebee movie, Autobots Autobots come in droves to Earth. Okay, so I think that the original reason why Optimus, called the Autobots to Earth is because I think Optimus Prime's big plan, and this will make him, a little smarter than he was portrayed to be in Rise of the Beast, where he openly called the Autobots to get stranded on Earth. I think that Prime's original plan was to scatter Autobots all around the galaxy, much like what happened in the Bumblebee movie, which caused many Decepticons to pursue them throughout the cosmos. A lot of them left Cybertron as they chased down the Autobots, trying to figure out where they're hiding, where they're staging their next big move, and all of that. In my opinion, and what I think was originally gonna be the plan for the sequel to Bumblebee, was that the Autobots openly scattered all across the galaxy to also get the Decepticons to scatter all over the galaxy, leaving Cybertron pretty undefended. So when the Autobot armies gonna gather on Earth, they were gonna use the space bridge to travel back to Cybertron, and they were gonna fight the Decepticons once again, now that their armies were scattered, separated, and Cybertron was more vulnerable. And we know because of the early transit scene, which, by the way, we still don't know how early the transit scene was in the original version of the movie. We don't know if, this got added before the Beast Wars characters or after the Beast Wars characters were added. But the transit scene does reinforce this line of thinking, because one of the scenes that didn't make it into the deleted fight scene between Optimus and Transit was that Transit was going to show a hologram to Optimus that there were still Autobots on Cybertron being executed by Decepticons. So meaning that Optimus Prime not only has soldiers all around the cosmos, but he also has soldiers back home. So using Earth as a staging ground for a massive counteroffensive against the Decepticons who have scattered all over the galaxy and are now much weaker back home will actually be a pretty smart move by Prime. It will actually make a whole lot of sense than just, traveling to Earth with less than 7 Autobots, only to just immediately go back to Cybertron and somehow just, save the planet just by, going back there. That never made a whole lot of sense, but this explanation alongside Optimus' larger, Autobot army at his disposal makes a whole lot more sense with this context, and portrays Prime as a more intelligent leader. I think after hanging out on Earth for a little while and waiting for more Autobots, more refugees to come to Earth, something strange happens. Autobots around the world start disappearing one by one, and Optimus loses contact with a few of them. Now, the reason why I think this is because Scourge shows up. Maybe Battletrap and maybe an early version of Nightbird or even Bloodhound, it doesn't matter, but the Terrorcons come in droves. And their whole goal is that they want to summon Unicron once again, much like what happened in Rise of the Beast, because we do see in a lot of the early concept art that he does appear in the final battle. The thing that I'm still not completely sure about is, where does the MacGuffin come from? Is it something that the Autobots built? Is it something that they knew about? I think that the Autobots more or less know about the MacGuffin. I think the Autobots already knew about the Transwarp Bridge. You could even call it a space bridge, it doesn't matter. And most of the movie is the Terrorcons and the Boogeyman Scourge hunting the Autobots down one by one. And Optimus Prime starts losing a few soldiers. And these will be generic soldiers. I don't think they'll be like actual characters like Windcharger and so on. Because some of the characters here, the ones that are not obviously characters like Sideswipe and Turtlebreaker, look more like the generic foot soldiers that we saw in the BB movie. So those will be expendable characters that we can kill off pretty easily. I think eventually what does end up happening is that the Terrorcons get their hands on like the Transwarp key. They think that they need to use the Transwarp bridge to bring Unicron to Earth so he can devour the planet and destroy it alongside Optimus and his Autobots. And I think that the final battle gets switched on its head. Instead of the Autobots openly trying to destroy the bridge, the Autobots are actually trying to protect the Transwarp bridge from the Terrorcons, because they need it to get home, and without it they're gonna be stranded on Earth. Optimus wants to go back home, but keeping the Transwarp bridge operational will also put the Earth in danger, because the Terrorcons might want to use it to bring Unicron to Earth. So the Autobots wage a defensive final battle to protect the objective instead of actively trying to destroy the Transwarp bridge. This leads to an all-out war as the Autobot army and the Terrorcon army, alongside Scourge and Battletrap, fight desperately against the Autobots for supremacy over the Transwarp bridge. Eventually, Optimus and Scourge fight, and Optimus manages to kill Scourge, but not before Scourge manages to open a bridge to summon Unicron to Earth. And I think much like in the actual film, they actually end up destroying the space bridge in order to prevent Unicron from actually reaching Earth. But as that happens, Optimus gets sucked in, which eventually leads to Optimus Prime floating in space and being encountered by Unicron, which would be how the movie was planned out to end. And somewhere along those lines, they meet the humans, they kind of help each other to fight back against the Terrorcons and save the planet, yada yada yada, usual Transformers movie stuff. But unfortunately, his hopes and dreams were shattered when the Terrorcons, an unknown factor, land on Earth as well, and wanna use the Transwarp Bridge themselves to bring Unicron to Earth and have him devour it, as a way of serving their master. And this is where the whole Scourge looking the way he does very early on comes in. Now, Scourge's design has always been a bit of an enigma for me. Early Scourge looked creepy. The giraffe neck, the small wide eyes, the slender figure, it made him look creepy. So Rise of the Beast originally wanted to go for a more horror type of, feel, a more intimidating, scary slasher-like villain. Now, what do slasher villains do in movie? Kill people. So here's what I'm thinking. Maybe Scourge and his Terrorcons come to Earth and they start hunting down the Autobots, and they start torturing them, and they eventually learn the information of what the Autobots are really here for. They're here for the Transwarp Bridge. The Terrorcons see this as an opportunity to use the key themselves to bring Unicron to Earth. Meanwhile, the Autobots are also busy fighting Decepticon scouts that occasionally arrive on Earth, like Transit and of course Barricade. But eventually Optimus makes the very hard decision of destroying his only ticket to, taking back Cybertron to prevent Unicron from showing up. He's successful in destroying the bridge, but unfortunately he gets sucked alongside it and gets an audience with Unicron. Meanwhile, Barricade gets away and he actually manages to, contact back Cybertron and the Decepticons there, telling them that the Autobots are on Earth, which will perfectly segue into the next movie, which will supposedly give the Decepticons a larger role. But hey, that's just a theory. A trans theory. Thanks for watching. That's my honest speculation as to how the original Rise of the Beast script was gonna go. I know it's not perfect. I know we're probably missing a few details here and there, like how does Noah factor into this? But maybe you can fill in the gaps in the comments down below. I know a lot of you guys are always eager to share your theories, and if you guys have any theories as to, how the original sequel of the Bumblebee movie was gonna play out, you guys are more than welcome to share your theories. But yeah, guys, that's it for this video. Let me know in the comments down below your thoughts on my theory as to how the original sequel to Bumblebee was gonna play out. Do you think the characters that we saw in the artwork were really Hound and Mirage? I personally think so, but then again, they could also just be generic Autobots for Scourge to end up killing. Whenever we get a new piece of concept art, it honestly leaves us with more questions than answers. And my guess is that unless we get Lorenzo or one of the concept artists to show up and tell us word for word, what the original plans for the movie were, but that's all we're gonna be able to do in the meantime. Just speculate. But hey, speculating is half the fun, and that's something that the Transformers fandom is all too familiar with. All trans theories made a career by just speculating about the Transformers movies here on YouTube, so there's clearly a demand for it. But yeah, as always guys, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Do all the annoying YouTuber stuff that the algorithm likes so much. And I will see you guys in the next video. Stay safe, guys. Anyways, guys, before we go, I want to give a shout out to our super cool Patreons: Private King Hunter Plays, Scrub Lordo, Stitch Productions, Xavier the God, Super Sailor Formers Hedgehogs, Orino 64 Studios, Crazy T-Rex, King Sparta, Legend of Soup, D. Taylor, TF Cypher, Collie 666, James Newbold, The Transformer, and an even bigger shout out to our top tier Patreons, Joe the Great, and XNR23, who donated a bunch of money. If you guys want to support me in a different way, Patreon's the way to go. There's quite a few good rewards in there, and you get to look at a lot of my videos early, the more high-end effort ones that take me a while to upload here on YouTube, and a bunch more. Again, be sure to check out their channels. They need all the help they can get. Some of them do Transformers content, and some of them do whatever it is they like to do. Again, thank you guys so much for donating, it's much appreciated. But keep in mind this is optional because freedom is the right of all sentient beings. But yeah, I'll see you all in the next video. Bye guys!